Welcome, everybody, to Celluloid and Scotch. I am Dan, and as always, joined by Carlito, my co-host. And it's Halloween Horror Month. Last week, we did Fallen. The comic book G-Spot, Robert, joined us and completely fucking derailed the whole show.
What?
But I was happy to have him on
That was
because
awesome.
we talked a ton of stuff. So, got a couple of complaints that we went off topic a lot, but you know, it is what it is.
He's the comic book God Spot. Our show is brought to you by Nick's Kicks and Comics tonight.
Representing Halloween like always.
Oh hell yeah! You have like no cool shirts like that. I need to get some.
Fright Rags is one I hit a lot. Hello, Pokin' Joe.
How you doing? Joe, what's up, fella, buddy?
So, since the time we started the show, we've referenced this movie quite a bit, and that is Frailty, the debut, directorial debut of Bill Paxton. And you're probably thinking, Bill Paxton, I've seen that guy before. I'd almost say he's borderline a star, but more of a character actor. But you've probably seen him in a shitload of movies and go, oh, it's that guy. Seen Aliens? It's Hudson. You've seen Twister, which I haven't. He was the main actor. He was one of the punks in Terminator 1. He was in Tombstone as Morgan, one of the brothers.
You gotta watch Twister, at least one.
I know. It's one of those ones I keep putting off. He was Chet in Weird Science. Like,
I gotta go back.
Oh, butthead. He was also the movie I actually had the pleasure of being in the audience for the panel at San Diego Comic-Con, Edge of Tomorrow, where I got to see Tom Cruise in full PR effect, which I no Ninja, I haven't seen Twister. Like, I know, like, I know. I've been thoroughly shamed over this. I will watch it. I don't know when.
You'll continue to be shamed until you watch it. Shame.
So I got to see Tom Cruise in full like panel PR mode, and I get like how people kind of get entranced with him because that dude is a ball of fucking energy.
Yeah.
And like I was just sitting there going, where does this end? Is this what Scientology is? Is this like he's like on coke, but like not coked out?
He's like Rob Liefeld, but not coked out.
He is Rob Liefeld.
He's like a normal Rob Liefeld. Hey, John.
Hey, John. So like I got to see him with Emily Blunt, Bill Paxton in that panel. So it was pretty star-studded, and like I got to at least see Bill Paxton before he passed.
That's cool.
No, this is the lead up to the movie.
Stop, Heather.
Listen, last week I'd love to say it was an outlier, but it's not.
Hey, Jen's here.
Yep.
I must have
She said hello to you, and you just.
Oh, sorry. I was just catching up with the chat. It didn't come up for a while.
So, Fallen came out in 2001. It is a borderline horror movie. I don't know if it is. It's
Frailty.
Frailty. It's like a psychological thriller.
Yeah, after rewatching it, I'm like, I shouldn't have put horror. It's more. I did put thriller, but
it kind of is, but kind of isn't. For those who are squeamish with blood, you really don't see any. It's all kind of done off camera and alluded to.
It's old school, man. I think that's
very
why I
much
like it
so.
so much.
It released in 1,497 theaters for 3 weeks.
Dude, did you see the movies that came out at that time?
I didn't look that much against it, but it did 4 million opening weekend. Its production budget was 11 million. It did
17 total.
Yeah, which it did over its production budget. So That's not counting like what it did on home video. Where
It's a success. I'll use that loosely.
so one of the interesting things was like Bill Paxton basically was like, "Hey, I got the script of a movie. I want to make it." And Lionsgate was like, "You know what? Fuck it. We'll fund it. The whole damn thing. Like, we'll finance it." And it was kind of an interesting move for someone who's never directed before, but his name attached to it. Rotten Tomatoes, when it came out, gave it a 75% certified fresh.
Ebert gave it 4 stars.
Yes, Roger Ebert, who has a weird history with horror.
Hated horror and like, yeah.
So the original Halloween, he championed when it was in limited release, when it was basically bombing. He also full on came out against Friday the 13th, every last one of them, to the point where him and Siskel put out the address of Mrs. Voorhees' home for people to basically shame her for being in that movie. Yes.
Holy crap.
Like way horrible stuff. There were some reviews that came out by critics that called this movie disturbing and an abuse of cinematic power, showing childhood abuse.
I did. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I never really. I mean, yeah, it was kind of hard to watch and kind of cringeworthy, but I never thought it was depicting like intentionally anyway, depicting like any child abuse or anything. So, but I mean, you know, I get it. It's uncomfortable, but
so I know Heather kind of complained that the movie takes a while to get going. And weirdly, it's an hour and a half, but she's not wrong to a certain point that the pacing for the buildup is kind of janky. Especially where we meet Matthew McConaughey, Fenton.
I don't know. Unreliable narrator. Love it.
Yes. So we're back to the unreliable narrator. I love that Powers Boothe is in this movie, which
I basically forgot how big of a role he had in it because I liked everything else so much about it.
As a huge fan of Tombstone.
Yeah, dude, he's so good.
Great to see him in this. Also, for those who watch the WB Fox animated Superman series, he's Lex Luthor. Yeah. So, a huge Powers Boothe fan.
He was on 24. He was
he was.
God, he's been in just a lot of stuff. I will say, by the way, Dan, I hope you don't hurt too bad about this, but it didn't do great, but it still made more than Jason X.
Oh, Jason X was a piece of shit.
I know.
It's a fun piece of shit, but it's a piece of shit.
Like, who was it? I was reading something about it, and like at the end of it, they're like, yeah, then Jason X came out 3 weeks later or something like that, and this still did better than that. Also, Bill Paxton said that if it wasn't for McConaughey championing it might not have got made. So, like his power and stuff star power and money.
This was a movie that like I heard nothing about. Like I guess it came out in the theaters. I missed it. Even when it came out in Blockbuster, I missed it, which I used to like crawl those walls looking for movies to watch. It was Bravo or FearNet had their list they did every year of like scariest movie moments. And this movie popped into it. And I was like, wait, Bill Paxton directed? Wait, what? So I hunted this movie down to watch. And I was just like, how did I never hear about this? And I think it's because I went in knowing nothing about the movie that maybe like possibly made me love it more because I knew nothing. I had no expectations going in. So I know Heather said that we kind of hyped this movie up a little bit. And I get it to a degree where you're like,
really say that, but that's kind of what I inferred. I have a gripe. And it's not necessarily about Heather, but just about these type of movies in general. Not about the movies actually, but about the people that complain about them or say they like. it's too slow or whatever. I think people's attention spans are just piss garbage these days, and I fear. I was sitting there thinking the whole time during this rewatch. Man, the build up to this is so good. The character development, the stillness, the plot, the story, like the unreliable narration, like everything building up to it is just so good.
So this is a slow burn movie.
Right.
So there's people who complain the original Halloween is boring. They complain that Jaws is boring.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I know a few people that say Jaws is boring, and I'm just like, okay.
Sorry, I'm using you as a reference. It was just I had to
Hey,
a comment.
What's up, brother?
Panda, my brother, we got to get you on for one of these days.
You got to the Turtles. That'll get him on.
It's not a horror one, but
no, not this month. But
he was on the Dracula one.
Yeah.
On Adrian's. So a little bit of its attention span, and I think there's a huge difference between slow burn and bad pacing. So for me, bad pacing.
Do you think there was bad pacing in this? I don't. I really don't.
I'd say it was like some of the shot direction got a little janky for me, but like that's a little too critical. So I hate filler. I hate filler in movies where it's just like we got to pad the runtime. I fucking can't stand it.
So you think there's some of that in here too?
Not so much in this.
In general,
a little bit like.
I agree, and also I want to say my second point before I forget on that. I know we kind of jockey back and forth, but the other point to my first point was the market saturation of everything's got to be boom, 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 quick, quick, quick. Like that also doesn't help.
But
people.
This was a meaty hour-and-a-half movie, which we don't get hour-and-a-half movies anymore.
You know what's funny is going into it, I'm like, all right, this is good 2.5 hours, and it was only an hour and a half, and I'm like, man, it must just be like that because
in the 2000s we weren't getting movies that long.
Right, true.
Like it used to be, your movie's got to be an hour and a half too, because guess what? We got to have more showings.
Right.
That shit doesn't exist anymore.
I think it's good. That's the one positive I see out of the box office stuff coming is they're going to be more event films and they're going to be longer. They're not going to be short anymore. The short stuff, I think, in my opinion,
it's going to be streaming.
Yeah, and I'm happy for that. Like that's cool. I'm glad that's where it's going to go because I don't know. I feel like
Adrian, like 100%, I truly believe there's movies that should be made to be an hour and a half.
Yeah, there are. They're called comedies. But
honestly, even horror movies, I don't think need to be 2.5 hours. I really don't.
Yeah, I would agree. Some of them especially.
So 30 Days a Night was hour and 45, I believe.
Really? I only
perfect
felt like
runtime.
An hour and a half.
Perfect runtime.
Yeah, it's perfect. That movie's tight. Like
yeah, there's no dead air.
I tried to find something that was like, oh, they could have cut. I really couldn't. That was just crisp on the editing on that one. So,
one thing that I did really like that I noticed more this time watching because I knew what was going on in the movie is how right at the front, after Fenton is talking to Powers Boothe and pointing out the picture of his mother, which will keep coming back, they make sure to go and say what a loving family they were and how the mother died in childbirth with Adam.
Right.
And how, their dad was providing. He was a mechanic and how he'd come home, help them with their homework.
Just pause for a second. Watching this, it made me appreciate, and I wanted to thank because I work with a lot of them during the day. Mechanics, very underappreciated job they do. So more blue collar workers, especially that field, should get thanks and appreciation.
And love the fact that the two brothers are arguing what movie they're going to see. Adam's
Yeah.
like, I want to go see Meatballs. Fenton's like, well,
Yeah.
I want to go see The Warriors. Like, Warriors is R-rated. You can't see that.
Dude, you know what that reminds me of? Me and my brother. And the other thing was, like, so when I was younger, so this was, I think me and my brother watched it around, I want to say 2002 or 2003. It was only a couple years after it came out, I think. Yeah. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, my memory's getting a little shaky here, but I think he picked it out at the Hollywood Video or whatever. And I was just like, okay. I didn't really know what it was. So I was like, I'll watch it, whatever. And yeah, we both didn't know anything about it and freaking loved it. So, and I will say, when I was let's see, I was about 21 then, 21. Yeah, 21. It was a lot scarier for me back then for some reason. So I don't know if I had more religious stuff going on in my head or what, but like now I don't get any of the. Well, I get a little bit, but not as much as I did when I was
So where I got tense was the moments with Fenton's like legitimate fear.
Yeah.
Because there's that scene where Bill Paxton goes, "You scared, boy?" And he goes, "Yeah, of you, Dad." And he's like, "Well, I'm scared of you."
That kind of shook me a little bit. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, and so I kind of laughed this time around where Bill Paxton's retelling, like seeing the angel visit him. Because he wakes the kids up in the middle of the night. He's like, "An angel woke me up, and it told me it's going to drop 3 weapons for me, and I got to kill demons. And this family's been blessed to be demon killers. If you tell anybody, people will die." So they're questioning his sanity already. And like he's retelling it and he's showing a bowling trophy of an angel and it's glowing.
Right.
Like he's nuts. Like 100% he's insane.
Well, oddly, I kind of, yeah. And I was thinking like maybe brain tumor? I don't know. Like something's going on there, but they didn't have any medical checkups on him, so who knows.
So the next morning he wakes them up like nothing ever happened to get them ready for school. And as they're getting out of the car, he goes, "Remember what I said, boys? Don't tell anyone or someone's going to die."
And then Fenton just stops in his tracks and just like.
And they show how it's affecting him in school. And then the night Bill Paxton brings a body home. And as a kid, like you're questioning your dad's sanity and you're seeing this. I'd almost say this was like familial drama to a certain point.
Yeah, Panda, probably. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm guessing so, maybe. Also, though, I tend to be very calm and chill in my older age compared to my 20s. I was a little wired and hot-wired.
Well, I think once you've seen something and you kind of know it's coming, the initial effect is lost on you that originally came from you.
A little bit, but that doesn't happen to me with like Interstellar or Tenet.
Well, I'm talking about horror, though.
Right. Okay. Well, Nightmare on Elm Street, I still get the vibe because I was like a little kid when I came across that in the living room, so I still get vibes from that for sure. So yeah, I think Panda's got a point there for sure.
Yeah. One of the things about this, Bill Paxton is the star of the movie, but he's kind of not in it a whole lot because, well, he's directing the movie.
Yeah.
But the scenes he's in, he's doing such emotional heavy lifting. And Matthew McConaughey and Powers Boothe basically carry this movie and the 2 kids.
Yeah. The 2 kids were outstanding. Even so, Adam, I think, kind of annoyed me the first time I saw it, but after a few rewatches since then, yeah, I appreciate it more for sure. So,
but this whole time, like Fenton doesn't believe his dad. He's horrified by everything happening. He's being roped into these acts. The 3 weapons were welder's gloves, an axe called Otis, and
that would probably be Joe's favorite part right there, Otis.
Basically it's like a giant copper pipe nipple that he's using to knock people out with.
I want to say, what did that look like to me? I forget now, but
it's basically a threaded rod on both sides.
Yeah.
And when he touches these people, you see him react and have this horrific reaction, and he starts telling them what they did.
I like that they don't, at that point, they don't show you anything.
No.
You're just made to kind of, you know what I really like about this that I noticed more this time? How it doesn't tell you or make a statement that this is true, or it's so ambiguous that it could be anything that any different person watching it is seeing. It could be that. Like, you could think, oh, he's crazy, and until later you like think that the whole time, or oh, I believe him, I think he really does, and it's just so well done. There's a fine line though, and Bill Paxton did tremendously, along with
one of the more emotional scenes in it, where Fenton's fighting back against him. He's like, the angel came and visited me, and I told it to go talk to you. It came back and talked to me and told me something about you.
Oh, I thought you were talking about his fake list that he made.
I'm not going to let that happen because I love you. So he makes him keep digging a hole, and he's like, did you finish praying? He's like, I didn't pray at all, Dad.
The whole time, no.
And the dad's showing him sympathy, and he's like, your hands, you destroyed them. Like, you got to wear gloves. Like, going to give you a couple of days off so the calluses can come back. And you kind of see heartbreak with the dad.
Yeah.
And we get to a scene later where he has him bring in was it the woman that they brought down into the shed that he dug a hole for, and he freaks out and leaves, and he gets the sheriff.
Yeah, I think it was. No.
And I don't remember who it was that they killed, but the sheriff comes in there, and there's a scene at the dinner table where he's like, so what's it going to be, boy? Is it important? And he makes them go down into that shed, and Bill Paxton grabs the axe. He goes, look what you made me do. You made me kill somebody. He's like, you killed many people. He's like, no, I destroyed demons.
Yeah, and he had all the normal reactions that someone would have to kill him. He threw up. He's
breaking down. He's crying. And he said, well, now you've made me do it. He locks him down in the cellar without food or water. It was 7 days, and then they say like he forgot how many days it was, and Adam's like, Fenton's not responding anymore, so he opens it up, and in the monologue, like, Fenton's like, at a certain point my mind broke. I insanity crept in. I think I saw God.
Dude, the floating head of him in the black was amazing. That was such a callback. I loved it. Did you read how they did that?
I did not.
He just wore like all black clothes and was in the all black room, and they like lit up his face and like.
There were some decent shots in this movie, and definitely lighting. So when Bill Paxton finds the first of the weapons, Otis,
that was so great.
They have the rays of light going down into this barn on a Texas road.
Yeah.
And the use of light, finding this axe in a stump, it was very biblical. And I mean, he's like, the angel told me I needed to pull over and go to this place. And he's under a car ratcheting something, and he sees an angel come down with a flaming sword. And
what do you think about that sequence? I I think the second time I laughed, and I think this time I thought it was like kind of borderline, like I could have laughed, but I was like, this is actually pretty cool.
It's a little cheesy.
It's a little
It went on a
cheesy,
little
but
too long.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it was like they showed it, cut away, showed it, cut away, and I'm like, one time, like that would have been good. But I guess they wanted to keep pushing. Like,
I like the cutaway too, where you get the view from the shop,
yes.
and you just see him like underneath the car, like. I mean, he looks kind of like crazy, or like he's having some sort of, mental thing that nobody knows about, or something going on.
And so basically, like, there's a dialogue between Fenton and his dad where he's like, the angel told me you were a demon. I needed to destroy you. You're my son. I can't do that to you. But he's like, I'm scared of you and I'm scared for you. And they're both scared of each other. And it's this weird energy back and forth. And you have Fenton where you kind of think he had this turn. And then he goes on a hunt with his dad where you think he's 100% in.
Right.
And then when it comes to Bill Paxton got a little bit of battle damage during it. He's like, destroy him, son. And then he turns on his dad and puts that axe right in his chest. And he whispers something into Adam's ear.
I turned that up as loud as I could to try to hear it. And I think I know what he might have said, but I can't be 100%.
I thought he basically said the task is yours and you'll probably have to destroy your brother.
Yeah, I thought I heard something like kill Fenton or something like you must kill Fenton.
Love you, Panda. Thank you for stopping by, brother. Definitely we will get up with you for another time and maybe an earlier episode to get you on. At some point we got to do the original Ninja Turtles. Or we got to do the original Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go Ninja, rap. Oh, that's part 2. Never mind.
He's probably gonna like cut that and like replay it over and over.
Thank you for stopping by, Panda. Yep. I really appreciate seeing you. So I think he basically, one of the things we find out is that Fenton made Adam promise that when he comes to destroy him, whenever that is, he will bury him in the rose garden. So this is rose garden behind their house, where the angel told them they needed to bury the bodies.
And I like at the end, I won't, well, I mean, I guess it's 21 years old, but we'll just say before we get there, I like how you can go back and watch that scene where he makes that promise, and it's in the way that it's supposed to be. So it destroys the unreliable narrator, but you don't realize it at the time because you're not there yet.
Also, so at this point, Powers Boothe is in the car with Matthew McConaughey. And I bitch about Matthew McConaughey's moment in Interstellar. In this movie, though, where he goes, I don't want to talk anymore, and he starts staring out the window. That to me is 10 times more powerful than when I saw it, because it looked like more raw emotion. And maybe it's because it's not like the over-the-top crying. It's just I can't talk about this anymore, and I'm just going to stare off into space.
Right. But, I mean, he's in human company there, so.
Yeah, I mean, it just hit me different.
Totally different.
Like, but you've had those moments yourself where you're just like, I'm done talking. Like,
Yeah, no, for sure.
Just going to. And just the uncomfortable silence between him and Powers Boothe, where he once again mentions the Powers Boothe. He's like, why do you only have that one picture of your mother? And it just keeps kind of, and Powers Boothe goes, man, you'd be a great cop.
I love that.
And it's just, and he's just like doing that McConaughey. Yeah, I guess I would.
You know what I noticed more is the interaction with them in his office before they left anywhere. how he's like holding the picture intentionally, so when he like reaches out to shake his hand, he just hands him the picture, which I thought was a nice little subtle thing there.
Also, I noticed Matthew McConaughey's demeanor from being in the office to when they get in the car completely changes, where he acts kind of a little unhinged
a little bit
in the office, and then they get in the car and he's very just like, yeah, well, thing about my brother. all right.
It's weird though, because we talk about Tom Hardy and like how he acts with his eyes. Matthew McConaughey does a lot of that in this movie.
He did, because he goes wild-eyed to very like narrow like focus.
Right. Well, and I'm also talking just like subtle things, like where he kind of gets bloodshot and it looks like he's gonna cry, but like he just stuff like that, you know.
So we're gonna get in the spoiler territory here, but him and Powers Boothe are walking in the rose garden, and Matthew McConaughey Powers Boothe goes, well, if you're Fenton, you made that promise. He goes, I mean, if I were Adam.
Yeah.
And his whole demeanor changes, and Powers Booth's like, fuck. So it's been Adam talking to us this whole time.
Dude, if there's a tension meter and like it's going like this, as soon as he made that statement, it like jumps up and you could feel Powers Boothe and like everything. And he pulls out his gun and he's just like, you know. Yeah.
So we find out the real Fenton did become, I guess, what you call a demon, but he's like, well, he buried all his bodies in his basement.
See, you know what's interesting about that? It made me think of Dexter, kind of the parallel of a young kid seeing his father do these horrible things. And they both saw it, but they both went totally opposite directions. Well, they did similar things, but they went opposite directions as far as, you know.
We also find out that basically Fenton was trying to basically provoke his brother into coming after him by typing these God Hand Killer notes, trying to provoke him to come after him, because at this point, I guess he just gave up on life, or he just wanted to get on the radar. But Adam's like, well, I couldn't go after him until God put him on my list.
So was that what he was typing up as he was sitting there? I wonder.
It might have been. They don't really go into it.
I noticed he was drinking Jim Beam. That's kind of sad. No, I like Beam. I'm just kidding.
They staged everything well for the ending, where like Powers Boothe goes, well, why is there 7 holes dug when, you know, the God Hand only killed 6 people?
Yeah, dude, that's the subtle, the script. I can't imagine what the script reads like, because Bill Paxton, I guess, just became entranced and like immersed in it. He loved it so much. So yeah, the way he translated to screen, I'm sure, is pretty close for sure.
And this was a little bit of like kind of the movie trope at the time, where we go back and kind of show everything, and a lot of it was from Adam's eyes, where he said, well, I saw the demons, and they show everything that his father saw when he was touching those people.
Oh, God.
And you go back and you're like, holy shit. You find out
enough, I found that more cringy than what was happening like with the family.
Oh, very much so.
Because some of the odd images there, but
the police office Powers Boothe calls
was
Matthew McConaughey's office, because he's the sheriff of that town now.
Yep.
His wife was also the operator.
And they're getting ready to have a little baby angel. Did you notice that?
Yeah. And how the dad wasn't lying when he said, God will protect me. He will shield us from being seen.
I'm telling you, man, that reveal, especially when I watched that with my brother for the first time, like the whole time, just like, this guy is fucking nuts. Like, he's just crazy. And then they get to showing that stuff, and I'm like, holy shit.
So the very end scene where that FBI agent shows up and he shakes his hand. And he's like,
You're a good
"You're a
man.
good man."
Yep.
Because it was like the tension of it, like he held onto that shake for a while. I was
He
like,
did a little too long, I think, but
so that was to just build the tension. That was a
right,
fuck you shot.
right.
And then like they do the pan away of the whole town, and him and his girl, he's like rubbing her belly, and they're walking back in. But the guy's sitting there staring at him going, I've seen this motherfucker before. Like, why can't I remember? So someone who actually like met him can't remember him.
Yeah. Do you think that guy turned into a soldier after that?
No.
No. I mean, he's in a place of law enforcement. He's a good man.
I because it made it
I
sound
like to think he did. I like to think he did.
Families were picked already. It made
Right.
it sound like, at least.
So, okay, speaking of that, so the one thing that kind of bugged me when I was, 20 when I saw it was, I was like, why? Because his dad was like touching him and like touching his hands and blah, blah. Why did he not know he was a demon? And then like the second or third time I watched it, it hit me that, because he hasn't actually done anything bad yet.
Yeah, so
you can only see what's been done, not what's in the future,
Plus, he might have been emotionally blinded because, like he said, like the angel's telling him to kill him, and he can't.
Well, and so that's another perplexing thing too, because it makes me think even more like, well, even though he looks and acts crazy, he's actually having some logical perspective here towards his son. And then I was like, well, maybe it's not that logical, I guess, but at least he's trying to have hope and faith in his son, So.
Well, Adam at the end brings up that basically he was given the challenge of Abraham.
Right, yeah.
True. Where he had to sacrifice his son and he couldn't do it.
I tried to look
God did not spare him like he did Abraham.
Yeah. I tried to look for Easter eggs and secret stuff, and I did notice a few things. I don't think they're really like important or nothing, but like I never noticed the book that he was reading, which was
the
Holy Visions.
Okay,
Holy Visions in his van. I'm like, what the hell? I've heard of that, but I don't think I've ever seen one. I don't know if it's a real book or not, but I'm sure it probably is. But I have to look it up. But
definitely, it was one of those.
Oh, Heather, that actually.
So
that might be kind of a fucking catch-22 there.
Yes, because the abuse, I think, broke him.
Yeah, no, it did. I was gonna say earlier, after he opens it up the first time and he's like, "What did he say? Oh, did God talk to you or something, or did you pray?" And he's like, "No," and then he just shuts it back. I think Fenton in his mind made up at that point that the next time it opens, he's just gonna lie to make his dad, treat him better, and also the whole thing was a plan. Like he acted like he was, gonna go along with everything, and he just planned it the whole time that he was gonna do that to his dad.
I have like a crazy piece of trivia here. Bill Paxton planned to have the demon's crime shown when Dad first touched them. At James Cameron's suggestion, he changed this so the information is a surprise that comes at the end.
Oh.
James Cameron said, "You got to remember, film is so literal that you're going to split the audience, and a lot of them are going to believe that Dad really is seeing all this stuff. Right. And you don't want that to happen because you want them to go with Fenton."
Exactly. Yeah. No, props to James Cameron on that one.
James Cameron, Sam Raimi, and Stephen King all singled out Frailty with high praise. King considered it one of the best horror movies of its year.
Yeah, they all had box quotes too on it, I think. So.
Also loosely based on the case of American serial killer Joseph Callinger, who murdered 3 people and tortured 4 families. He committed these crimes with his 13-year-old son, Michael, between 1974 and 75 in New Jersey. He pleaded insanity, claiming that God told him to kill them.
Yeah, that case is a little different, but yeah, I could see the basis for that for sure.
Bill Paxton made the film for multiple viewings. The first time you sit through Frailty, you get pulled into the story kind of subjectively, and there's this whole kind of creep factor. But on your second viewing, there's a lot of satisfaction as there's a lot of clues laid out in front of the viewers.
Yes, dude. I would even say the third time it's even better that way. But
at the title credit in the writer commentary, Brett Hanley says, "Frailty to me was always about the frailty of perception, the frailty of morality, the frailty of right and wrong." I like the idea of an abstract title.
Yeah, I do too. And I noticed that actually at the time they say that it kind of didn't do as well because of the abstract title. But then someone else was like, well, they were going to call it In God's Hands, and I'm pretty sure that wouldn't have done as great either. So, yeah, Heather brought up a good point there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like if I saw my dad pull an axe out and kill somebody, like that would have long. I mean, so I saw some stuff in my household that has stayed with me my entire life of domestic violence, and none of it involved actually taking an axe and killing somebody. So I can't even imagine what that would do to. I believe Fenton was 12.
I think so, and I think Adam was 9.
Yeah, so like I can't even imagine what that would do to someone.
I will say this also brings me back to like before they get to the ending, my love of skeptics versus believers, because basically you get that in Adam and Fenton, which is great. You get to see both sides. People can like lean one way or the other and choose, but like, yeah, at the end, kind of laid out.
So the pedophile was played by Bill Paxton's longtime acting coach, Vincent Chase.
Yep. He worked with the kids a lot too, apparently.
Yeah.
So,
the third demon, he parked cars at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and Bill Paxton said, "That's what I used to do."
Oh, Bill. R.I.P. Bill.
Powers Boothe was basically cast because Bill Paxton loved him, and they met on Tombstone. And when they read the script, he was like, "That's exactly the person I want playing the FBI agent."
And don't forget the Texas connection between him and McConaughey.
Yes.
For sure.
Powers Boothe is another one of those character actors you've seen in a shitload of stuff, and you kind of forget he's there.
Heather's on point tonight.
Yes. I mean, there is a ton of emotional stuff in this movie. I mean,
many layers.
You have one brother. You have this rift caused between the brothers because one is totally buying into dad's shit, whether it's shit or reality. Like, unerringly, he's like, "No." And then when the son walks in, he goes, "God gave me this list." He's like, "Isn't this the boy that bullied you last week?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you write this list?" He goes, "Well, God told..." No,
don't lie.
That's murder.
Yeah.
It like the weird line. He goes, "Well, no, that's not murder. That's destroying."
Yeah. And actually, Adam uses that at the end too when that he had to destroy Fenton. Yeah, and oddly enough, the one thing I learned that I didn't know, in doing research, obviously, after I watched it, was most of it was filmed in California because of budget constraints.
Yes.
Which is kind of sad, but it does have a Texas feel to it, so I'll give them that. That's kind of like one of my favorite shows, though, Justified, which takes place in Kentucky, but actually it's all filmed in California. So.
Which is weird because California is super expensive to film at,
and it's also the terrain is not total opposite, but they found some good areas, but it's not exactly like Kentucky. So,
I mean, it's almost like Breaking Bad, where they had to film in Albuquerque because they got the breaks.
Yeah. Heather, I was going to mention that later. she brought that up to me, and I never really thought about it. I guess because I'm not a woman, so I was just like never really, you know. But yeah, the mom was dead. The other guy's mom, actually, so
She killed her.
wife was dead, and then the other guy, Powers Booth, he killed his mom.
And then some of the women's were demons.
Right. Well, was there two or is there one?
I know definitely one.
I know there were two on the list, but we only saw one, I think, get killed. But yeah, that's. No, I'm not saying no. I know what you're saying. I didn't take it that way.
Well, also I
Yeah,
thought
I
it
can
was.
see some people might think that.
I thought it was interesting that the mother died in childbirth with the youngest.
Yeah.
Who is also the most pious.
Yeah.
It was weird because the brothers got along really well. Even after everything, they got along.
Again, reminds me of my brother. I used to be a horrible bully to him at one point, and yeah, but we grew up and we're pretty much inseparable now. So,
but I do like a movie that keeps you guessing of like what's reality, what's real, what's fake. Like, is the dad crazy? And I think that's the thing I appreciate this movie, because by the time it goes round robin, you're just like, oh shit.
The other thing too, to piggyback off that I read was that Bill Paxton didn't want a mainstream director to get it because he felt like they would sensationalize it too much. And I totally agree. I think the way he did it, just simple, it felt more real. I think if Hollywood kind of got into it, it would have been not as good. So for sure.
And I try to picture another actor playing the father, and I can't really see it because Bill's not a big actor, but he did the emotional like weight of it so well.
Oh, and I love there's a couple dad jokes in there too, even though it's in like kind of bad moments, like when they're going to kidnap that guy from the store, and then he's like, "You got to help me, it's your duty," or whatever. Fenton's like, "I can't," and then he's like, "Well, can't never could do anything." And then the joke about the peas and just I don't know, kind of dad stuff there.
I weirdly never got the whole father, son, brother, male relationship vibe out of it. But I never really thought of it.
I think she's on to something there, because I do know a couple females that have seen it and they really didn't care for it. So, granted, they're not really horror thriller fans either, but or psychological thriller fans for that matter. But still, I think she's on to something there. Yeah, I love that joke.
I guess I never went that deep into it, like thinking about the relationship thing. Like
I never did either, really. Yeah,
I mean, maybe
she knows
more about the brothers.
She knows her movie stuff. We don't always agree, but I like that she has different viewpoints sometimes on stuff that I do.
So this for me, I'm sitting at like a solid 8.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I was gonna say 4 out of 5, but I mean, just double it, 8 out of 10. So.
Yeah, it does have I can see why some people don't like it.
Sure.
And you have to really pay attention to what's going on, because it starts becoming a Nolan movie almost, where you're like, if you're not paying attention to the little breadcrumbs.
I hate those movies.
I mean, there's other movies like that aren't Nolan, but
yeah, a lot of the older I get, the more religious stuff I notice. I mean, obviously when I was younger, I noticed the demon angel part.
Banner of Heaven is a fucking amazing book.
Double-edged sword for sure.
And it is interesting because, like, literally becomes you have your son who's not a believer, and you're basically punishing him for not believing, like locking him in a cellar for maybe 14 days with no food or water. which, 100%, I got the whole, like, oh, I get why they were like, this is abuse.
Yeah. And, I mean, Fenton was just so physically, verbally... Well, I mean, I guess he wasn't really ever hit or anything like that, but just, like, literally...
He was given chores.
And chores. But that's another thing I noticed at the beginning of the interview in the office, when Matthew McConaughey's sitting there and he, like, opens his hands, you can see the calluses in, like, red. So you know he's been out there digging. But, I mean, obviously he said this because he buried Fenton, but,
Yeah.
That was kind of a cool little detail. It's nice to have a big TV to see that stuff now.
Very much, this is one of those movies you kind of have to be in the mood for.
Yeah.
It's also a movie I think you have to go in with an open mind. One, remembering that it's a very small budget movie.
Yeah, what was it, 11 million? Was that the budget?
11 million. First directorial debut by a character actor, we'll just call it that. But pretty strong performances overall, especially by the kids.
Oh my God, those kids. I was trying to think of... I mean, I think maybe the weakest link might have been Adam's wife. But she didn't really have much character to go... I mean, she didn't really have much to go for. So. I mean, that's,
I almost wish for a little bit more back and forth between McConaughey and Powers Boothe.
Oh, yeah, dude. They were so good rolling off each. Powers Boothe, that guy just has such a presence, man.
I mean, fuck him and Michael Biehn in Tombstone.
Oh, shit.
That's some of the best in there. Michael Biehn is so strong in that damn movie. Not make you crazy. It's the love-hatred of religion. Weirdly, not Family Guy. American Dad made a weird comment where Roger the alien's like, "Oh, I love the holidays. It reminds me how this religion spewed genocide." Like, just randomly in a Christmas episode is like.
So that reminds me, when I was in college, I had I think it was, I don't know if it was world religions or something. But the professor was notoriously, we'll say, kind of like born again Christian. So yeah, I think you know where I'm going with this. But so I basically just calmly, like stoically laid out one time when she called on me, like why I thought of what she was, because she was basically just preaching all the good, and stuff. And I said, well, what about the Crusades? What about this? What about that? Look at all the wars. Look at all the suicides. And she just like didn't even know how to respond, but she was just like, we're not going to get into that. And I want to see you after class. And so we had like a huge discussion. But oddly enough, though, we became kind of friends and stuff.
You didn't do the song and dance scene from History of the World, the Inquisition.
No. I tried to remain fairly cordial about everything, even though back then I was like, hothead kind of. So, but
again,
they kind of stopped the class with those comments, and everybody just kind of went quiet. So
I've always been in the worship what you want to, but don't push it onto those who have no interest in it being pushed onto.
Yeah.
Because you want respect, but you're not offering respect back. So that is my opinion on it.
Like Tony Soprano said, those who want respect, give respect.
Come on here. You say, Godfather, you never asked me for a cup of coffee. But now you come here asking me on the day of my daughter's wedding for murder. Godfather, will you be my friend? Godfather?
So great. I need to rewatch
Clemenza, I need you to tune up this guy, and I want you to hurt him, but don't kill him.
Fucking Tessio pisses me off.
I still love the Godfather.
I respect Abe Vigoda and love him.
On the day of your daughter's wedding, may they have a masculine child.
Oh yeah. One of my favorites though was always Frank Pantangeli. That guy is like a classic, like.
From part 2.
Yeah.
Your father did business with Hyman Roth, but he never trusted Hyman Roth.
Nope. He was the old schooler, that's for sure.
But I love when he gets visited in jail, though.
Yeah.
You know, in the old times, they would fall on the sword. Fuck, man, like, that's going to be an argument one day, like part 2 versus part 1, because they're so different beasts.
I can't even, I will say, someone brought that up last week, and it was me, my dad, and my brother, and somebody else, and I just was like, they're two, I mean, they're both, I don't know, I can't, because if I got more testosterone flowing through me, I like Godfather too. If I'm like, more level-headed and just want to watch one of them, I think the first one's the best, but it's tough, man.
I do love when at the end of part 1 where little Anthony's fucking squirting DDT in Grandpa's face.
He falls in the oranges.
And then the end of part 2. I killed your baby, Michael. This whole Sicilian vengeance.
Oof. Oof. You knew that was the end of that marriage. Holy shit.
See, this is where we go sideways. Now we're talking about The Godfather.
What? We should talk about Nolan movies next.
So, movies that I would say kind of are in this vein of
Fallen.
Huh?
Fallen. We just discussed the first one.
Fallen. So there is a movie I watched. It's on AMC Plus currently. If you have that subscription service, it may even be on Shudder because they're basically one and the same. It's called Summer of 80. It's called Summer of '84.
I've seen that. That was good.
I love that movie, and it's one of the few movies where I thought the ending happened, and then they just flip it, and the antagonist shows up in the kid's house, breaks in.
Wasn't that the guy from Mad Men?
I don't know where the guy was from.
I think so.
But he basically tells this kid, he's like, you know what? I could kill you right now, but that's not going to be good enough. You ruined my life, so I want you to worry constantly.
Look over
you never
your
know when I'm going to come for you. You never know how, when, why. But when you get comfortable, I'm going to be there. And it's the most frightening fucking thing I have heard in a movie ever.
It was pretty creepy.
Because this kid, his whole life got destroyed in that moment.
For sure.
And it's one of the greatest horror movie endings. It kind of is a horror movie, but it's in that Stranger Things kind of living in the moment of 1984 shit. They're using the G.I. Joe walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
There's just something about that movie I love, and it's so low budget. There's that other weird movie, Ready or Not.
I don't know if I've seen that one. Is that the one that Perry liked? I think
it's one of them, yeah. But the guys who did the newest Scream directed this movie.
She said it was. I mean, a couple.
And you don't know like exactly what the fuck is going on. just this weird eccentric family, and then it turns into like actual like Hunger Games fucking fight for your life shit, and the actress in it is amazing.
Yeah, that's one of the. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, how do you argue with someone like that? Without even like saying, that they're crazy or what. I was just like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. They're also weirdly hearing the voices. The Son of Sam, like I remember in New York they had the TV movie about him, and I just remember him like going, all I hear all night is bark, 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 dogs barking and telling me what to do. And I was born the year the Summer of Sam, where New York was on lockdown and burning down because they were afraid of this motherfucker.
That was the same year.
Mm-hmm. But I was born out in Long Island, so I wasn't like in the city.
Right, but still,
But my mom always will be like, "That a great Yankee team that year." I was like, "The fuck!" Like,
I think Heather and John would have some good conversations.
So John Krakauer, the audio book for the Everest, Into Thin Air, fucking amazing. Krakauer is a author I really enjoy. There's a couple. The guy who did 1776, his nonfiction novels. He did the John Adams book too.
Oh yeah.
David.
Oh, that took my tongue.
Shit.
Yeah, Google it. Google that shit.
Also, thank you, John, for now. I'm stuck with a lot of Arrested Development stuck in my head. With you in my head. There's always money in the banana.
Did you see that picture of the copycat John? I can't believe that guy. It's crazy. Everybody's out here trying to be like John.
David McCullough.
King John. Oh yeah.
David McCullough, he had a book called Painting on Silence that was basically about his writing process that I loved. Also, the John Adams series that was on HBO was really, really good. Even though it was super weird seeing
John Adams series.
Seeing the guy from Shoot 'Em Up. No. He was also in Howard Stern's Private Parts.
Paul Giamatti?
Paul Giamatti is.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was John Adams. That's right.
And it's so weird. And like, occasionally when I read the comic Philadelphia, I start seeing Paul Giamatti as the bulked up kind of hipster John Adams now with the goatee and everything. It's so weird. Which I guess that's a programming note. November 4th, Friday at 10 p.m. The writer of Philadelphia will be coming on the show again to talk to Jen and I. I have invited John. I have invited No Good Comics. He is in Vegas, so he has not replied, and I don't blame him. And Azor's Tiger, who is a huge fan, I have invited on as well because I promised him I would. So looking forward to that. I'm going to be talking about Philadelphia Volume 4 and his new book from his imprint where him and Jason Sean Alexander are reinventing Blackula.
Nice. I got to read Philadelphia. It's on my list. I haven't read much.
It's incredibly good if you like kind of historical horror, because they reference stuff. It's
As long
basically
as it's not Abraham Lincoln vampire killer. Or whatever.
no, but it starts with John Adams and his wife are in Philadelphia and they're raising a vampire army because he wants to kind of make America great again.
Weird.
But it's very much like his wife and him have kind of split. She has a brothel, a vampire brothel. And there's a Philadelphia detective and his son trying to kind of stop this outbreak.
Alrighty.
Thomas Jefferson has come back and he's basically the vampire Lestat. It deals with a lot of generational trauma between slaves and everything in between, fathers and sons.
Wow.
John and I got to talk last time. John joined us for it. And we also had one of the most insane comic unboxings during it of his random shit he bought from Golden Apple Comics, where it was like the first Elektra, first John Constantine. He's like, oh yeah, that was the expensive week, and he's just pulling books out of a bag. We're just like,
damn.
Hulk #3, like just the craziest shit. And John's like, that's like the second Green Hulk. That's this, that's that, and it's just like more expensive every book. And Jen's like glasses were starting to like fog up as they were drooping.
Oh, geez.
But
Yeah,
always a fun discussion. So his history in Hollywood is kind of amazing because he's worked with the Wayans brothers forever.
Oh, wow.
He's a writer on the Boondocks. He's currently writer on the Neil Gaiman American Gods. And he's doing the Lakers winning time show right now on HBO. He worked on the first Blade movie.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
Just weird, like tangential stuff for Hollywood. He also tried out for WCW at one point as a wrestler. But definitely like one of my favorite people to talk to because he's just a wealth of information. So I was showing Carlito earlier. I've been on a physical media craze lately because everything's coming out as either Steelbooks or just big re-releases. So Carlito showed me today, and I'd already known about it, but Pulp Fiction has a 4K Steelbook re-release coming out.
Looks sick.
Beautiful fucking slipcover. Reservoir Dogs coming out. A favorite of John's that's coming out in a very limited edition, the Limey, the original Limey, not the reprint, the redo with Ben Kingsley. No, the original. Criterion's got some good shit coming out. Night of the Living Dead for 4K.
They have Return of the Living Dead on there too coming out.
So Shout Factory.
Oh, okay. Oh, but speaking of which, yeah, you'll have to go do a rundown on Shout Factory releases because I haven't.
To Kill a Mockingbird is one of my favorite all-time movies. Citizen Kane for some is a genius thing. Gregory Peck in To Kill a Mockingbird gives one of the strongest performances.
So good.
And he made me love it. Yes, John, they remade the Limey about 10 years ago, and it was with Ben Kingsley.
I still remember the first time I saw To Kill a Mockingbird.
Excuse me, Sir Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, Sir Ben Kingsley. Although John's a king, so he doesn't have to acknowledge.
Yes, they remade the Limey. So there is the Godfather Steelbooks coming out next month for 1, 2, and 3. I pre-ordered all 3. Just being transparent on that. So I got Scream 2. Let me The Steelbook of Scream 2. I am not a huge Scream 2 fan, but I really like the cover. I know, bad reasoning.
How much is that going for, if I may ask?
$24.
Okay. I thought I saw one for like $14.99. Almost.
Might have been part 1.
Okay.
Ethan Hawke, The Black Phone, Scott Derrickson, written by Joe Hill. Creepy ass movie. I finally got to a dollar amount I was willing to buy it for. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it enough to buy it.
I gotta check that out.
Fright Night.
I gotta say,
4K Steelbook.
That art, man, that is so good.
The Lost Boys just had a 4K Steelbook come out. I got The Fog. I just got Halloween in 4K, not Steelbooks. For my 3 least favorite, H2O, Resurrection, and The Curse of Michael Myers. But in 4K, I get to see Busta Rhymes kick Michael Myers through a fucking window. Fuck my life.
That's probably my least favorite out of all of them.
But Umbrella Entertainment, if you ever follow Dawn of the Discs on Instagram, every new release, big or little vendor, they post with links to pre-order. Umbrella Entertainment is putting out Hellraiser, Day of the Dead, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 1. And then Vinegar Syndrome has Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Because they're owned by different companies. And it's a whole fucking ordeal because apparently the mob owned Part 1 of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Nice.
So it's been a very good time for like everybody's just dumping all their hot 4K releases at the same time. My bank account is not too pleased with it recently. The Army of Darkness 4K Steelbook is beautiful because it's kind of gold backdrop, and I would walk over and get it, but I just don't feel like it right now. I also got the Evil Dead 2 2013 remake. They put out the 4K for that from Shout Factory. So it's been a big Shout Factory month. Also, another person I follow who he's an enabler, Northern Brogue.
Yeah.
On Instagram. I love and hate that motherfucker. He's been invited to come on for the Halloween episode.
I think I started following him because you were following him or something.
Because yeah, he's a huge fan of the Halloween show. He also has a channel, Geek Pants Media, I guess, where he does reviews. I've just realized Terrifier 2 is playing actually in real theaters right now. Which Terrifier 1, if you want to see a clown killer, there's some fucked up shit in that movie.
It was called Blimey, John.
No, it's... I swear it's the Limey remake, unless I'm wrong. I swear there's...
I'm still holding out for the Dune Steelbook, but it looks like I'm going to have to crack and just get the regular.
You didn't get the Steelbook?
No.
Or were you looking for a special version of it?
No, I was just looking for the exclusive, the Best Buy, whatever. But by the time I went to the site, it was already sold out on pre-orders, and then I tried to go day of at my Best Buy, and they didn't get any. So
Best Buy has been bad lately.
I mean, it used to be for the last couple of years they'd at least get one or two, and if you got there open.
So the 4K Steelbook of The Thing, I never even was able to get in on.
So I think I got Tenet doing that, where they got like 2 into the store, and I paid for it online, and then went in and got it.
Oh god, now I'm regretting going into Ben Kingsley's IMDb. Shit. Fuck. Maybe it wasn't the Limey. I could have sworn it was the Limey. Ooh, he was in Blood Rain. Oof. All right,
I
here's
don't
a lot
know.
of bad movies.
We may have talked about this, but did you ever see the?
Oh, it was Sexy Beast. Never mind. It was Sexy Beast. Sexy Beast and Limey are two different fucking movies.
I don't know. I think he's got a ways to go before he's the first one, but he's definitely the last.
I am not drunk, but I'm wrong. I'm buzzed, but I'm not drunk.
I don't even think
There's
I'm
a huge
buzzed.
difference. The Batman episode, drunk.
Oh man, I had to get drunk to be able to talk to Ryan in that one.
I like that Ryan's disavowing that episode now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for his reputation, he probably should.
I mean, now that he's a big comic book writer. Oh, Carnival of Souls is awesome. But Toby Hooper's Funhouse is one of the creepiest fucking movies that has a surprise kind of ending to it.
Oh, Heather, while you're here, Dan, you should plug Mr. Gorman to her. Psycho Gorman.
Okay, so
I don't know if she would like it or not, but she's definitely open to watching stuff. So
if you think Power Rangers is ridiculous and then want to get it mixed with an alien horror movie with stupid fucking Toxic Avenger gore, Psycho Gorman is the movie for you. Just watch the trailer on YouTube, and if you don't like that, you probably won't like the movie.
I told Burke about it. He didn't really seem interested, especially when I told him it was like a dark slapstick Power Rangers. So like, didn't really say anything.
G Spot watched it. He was like, "What the? I gotta watch this,
dude." The whole first half hour, I was just like, "What the fuck am I watching?" And then it's just so good. It's fun.
Another movie I think is fun, but it's nutty, is The Guest. Dan Stevens is in it, and he's a British guy. Psycho Gorman is crazy. Funhouse is like true horror.
So Carnival of Souls, is that what it?
Carnival of Souls is good. That I almost treat that like an art flick.
So, I'm kind of hit or miss on art flicks. I know I usually have talked to John about them in the past, and I'm kind of half and half. So
The Guest to me is possibly one of the best not talked about movies. Dan Stevens, who was on Downton Abbey. This was like one of his first Downton Abbey. This was one of his first American movies. And he's playing like straight up Matthew McConaughey in it as a Brit. But the premise of the movie is that this family, their son was killed in Afghanistan. Micah Monroe, who was in It Follows, is playing the goth sister in it. There is a very cool soundtrack that is very John Carpenter synthy.
Dude, I have not. Adam Wingard directed it.
Yeah, Adam Wingard directed it. So this dude shows up at the house saying, "Hey, I was in Afghanistan with your son. He was my friend." So he shows up and he starts becoming part of this fucking family. And spoilers, he's like a government experiment. He's like an unkillable soldier who's nuts. And the sister kind of starts thinking, hey, there's something wrong with this dude. He starts hanging out with all these high school kids. Like, he takes on the brother as kind of like his protege.
Sorry, I just had a moment of, I was looking up The Guest, The Invitation, and The Gift. And
there's two different.
I fucking hated The Gift. And that has the highest fucking Rotten Tomatoes out of the 3.
There's two different versions of The Gift.
Get out of here.
There's two
Joel Edgerton, that garbage.
Okay, because there's the other one with Katie Holmes and Galadriel.
I haven't seen that one, but the one
everybody loved it because Katie Holmes got topless in it. Okay, Carnival of Souls is only artsy because it's so old.
Oh.
So there is something to be said about that because I was gonna save this for the Halloween episode, but
this is above up my topic or my knowledge here.
There's an Orson Welles movie called Touch of Evil. And in it, John Carpenter straight up stole the beginning one shot at the beginning of the movie. Straight up he stole the one shot in it. He thought
Like
it was
he stole the actual film cells.
No, like he stole the idea of the shot. So the beginning of Halloween, the one shot tracking shot, basically he got the idea from Touch of Evil by Orson Welles.
Yeah, but I mean that's not really like stealing, though. That's like
he even called himself stealing it, homaging, whatever you want to call it. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
He stole the idea from it.
Watched it alone really late when I was younger. Well, I got to see this movie now just because
it's creepy. I saw a black and white version of it.
What?
It's old.
It came out in when 1962.
Yeah,
well, they had color.
Okay, so let me put it this way. I had a black and white TV.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Galadriel. Yes, I fucking forgot her name.
That must be a Rings of Power reference.
No, it's Lord of the Rings, but the actress from the Lord of the Rings movie who played her, who...
Oh, the movies or the show?
The movie.
Oh.
Big time actress. She played Hela.
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett, yes.
Yeah, I haven't seen Lord of the Rings: Return of the King yet, so that's as far as I got were the first two, and that's it. I think we talked about it before.
Yeah, we did a little bit with
brother.
Yeah, we did a little bit with.
So was it filmed in black and white, or you just watched it on black and white TV?
Both.
Okay, now I'm really confused.
Listen, like Turner started recoloring this shit later on, so like.
Okay, so it was originally done in black and white. Gotcha.
But like, I had a black and white TV till like 1986.
Sure, dude. Yeah,
my family was
still around when I was young in the 80s. I get it.
My family was poor as fuck.
Yeah, I wasn't fucking rich or nothing. I don't even think we were middle class, even though they tried to portray that of us. I think we were fucking dirt poor. Especially knowing finances and stuff, looking back now, it's like, yeah, pretty sure we were dirt poor. Me and my brother didn't feel it as kids that much because they tried to make our part of it. So
I remember, like, I felt bougie that we had a VHS at one point.
Yeah, I remember.
And we only had one
until like 1995 or 96, I think.
I want to say 85 we had it, but like we had bootleg copies of Terminator. Someone made a copy of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so like we watched that constantly. So like we'd be watching it during dinner. My mom would be bitching about Franklin. She's like, "Oh, Franklin." My mom hated Franklin more than anything else in this world. Like Franklin, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was terrible.
More than anything else? Jesus.
Because like she made fun of him constantly eating dinner, and I'm like, it's already fucked up. We're watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre during dinner, like a fucking movie about killing people and making them into barbecue.
I mean, yeah, I do remember. Yeah, I remember that too, which is funny because if I'm not mistaken, VCRs ended up being cheaper than what Beta was. But
see, I didn't even know this was possible. We rented VCRs in the weekends.
Oh yeah, dude, our video store had a VCR rental, and I think they only had like two, so if two people got them, you're pretty much out of luck. But yeah, on VHS.
I mean, you could be real bougie.
Jeffrey.
Hey.
What's up, brother?
What's going on, man?
Hulk smash. Dude, I kept my VCR for 10 years between it was brand new. I barely used it from like 2006 until 2016. Like 2016, I'm like moving and I'm like, why do I fucking have this? I haven't used it in like 10 years. So I gave it to some guy downtown.
Also, if I read your updates correctly, congratulations on the new job, Jeffrey.
Oh, yeah. Now he's fucking swimming in cash, so he ain't got time for us anymore. But that's what it is. Gotta get that cash.
Yeah, it's weird because like there's people in the community I'm not saying I don't have time to see or I just don't see anymore, but like Rod's one of them. Like I'm not around when he's on, like, and I feel shitty about it.
Oh, cool.
Oh, barbecue. Listen, like, weirdly, the best barbecue I had, at least for ribs, St. Louis.
I thought you were gonna say Kansas City.
No, but I had Memphis chicken. So, like, if I could find a bastardized version of like all three,
I'm sure it's out there.
I've also learned like the more hood a place is, the better the barbecue is.
That seems to be the case. I'm not gonna lie.
So, I go to a lot of Buccaneer games in Tampa. The like smokers and stands people bring out there just randomly out in the yard. Better food than you'll find within like 2 miles for that stadium.
There was a place in KC that we went to. Actually, we had originally planned to go to this Italian restaurant that is still like old school, that had been used back in the days of the real life stuff going on that didn't exist. But I think they were all booked up, so we decided to go to this barbecue place, which was like, so it's like a couple streets down the way, and unfortunately, funnily enough, like it was like kind of a split. Like where you go to, there's a street in Miami the same way. One corner you're like totally safe. If you go to the other corner, you're fucked.
That's
it's
almost
like
everywhere in Florida.
Yeah, but like the barbecue, holy shit, amazing.
So California, my extent of being in California was San Diego for Comic-Con, but there was a Thai restaurant called it's fuck now I can't remember the name of it, but it was down right over in the gas lamp. They had a dish called Crying Tiger that was basically flank steak in this like spicy orange sauce. Oh my god, it was orgasmic. Like that was the best shit I've had. And for like 3 years that I went, I made sure I went back every year to that place. But they had pizza with goat cheese, and I was not feeling that. Downtown San Diego, I was like, what the fuck is that smell? They're like, oh, it's goat cheese. I was like, yo, why is that on a pizza? Like the New Yorker in me started coming out. I was like, nah, like get that shit away. Like that's pungent. But they did have a food truck called the Grillenium Falcon.
Oh, that's cool.
And it had a 5-cheese grilled cheese. Nice. Fucking bomb.
Dude, that reminds me, although I'm sure yours was better, but like Panera back in the day used to have I think it was a 5-cheese tomato and basil or something. Oh man, that was killer.
Yeah, definitely California is like one of those places where like, I mean, you could throw a rock and you're going to find something you're going to like. It's just, you might have to go a little further down the street for like your exact like.
A little further down the canyon. Depending on where you're at.
But I'm sure in LA and like other places it's not as bad. But like San Diego, it was just like, this place is crazy to me. From going from New York to Florida to like there. Because as a pizza snob, I was just like, I don't know about this. It's bad enough being down here and like people go New York style pizza, and I walk in, I was like, the fuck out of here with this shit.
You like California style pizza?
No, I don't like Chicago style pizza either.
Whoa!
Nah, like I gotta have like the pimples on the pizza
and take a step back.
But I do love Sicilian pizza more than anything.
No, of course.
That's squared up.
I do not discriminate on pizza at all.
I mean, I'll eat it all, but like I do have my favorites. But there's a restaurant by me that there are all from Jersey Italians.
Nice.
So like I walk in there and I just hear the cursing in Italian and I feel like I'm home. A little too much pepper in their sauce, and I've complained about it. But their stromboli, their stromboli is on point.
Yep, Jeffrey's freaking bougie now. He's going to be getting a penthouse loft and, doing live streams from his penthouse. It's going to be hilarious.
I'm still waiting for when we actually do Hulk on one of my comic streams to get him on.
Oh, God. Yeah, you got to, dude.
Him and Morbius are like two of the biggest Hulk fans I know.
There was another Hulk fan that I used to know that was pretty big, and then he kind of disappeared from the community.
It's weird because like now I'm seeing so many people with Hulk 181s, and it's the bragging aspect of it now, where I'm just like, okay, like you got it, like cool. And I know most of them are going to just turn around and flip them anyway.
Really? God damn, I would never flip that book. I did flip the 180, but that was a little different. I had to.
Most of them are flippers.
Yeah, Jeffrey, good point.
I'm a story collector for the most part. Like I chase shit from my youth. So when I really started collecting, it was the Peter David, Todd McFarlane run, the Gamma Bomb run and shit. So there's one issue that's hard for me to get, and it's the iconic Wolverine claws with the Hulk in it, which I had, but I had a real beat up copy. I still have my beat up copy.
Oh,
but I don't have, like,
yeah, I got one. It was a nice copy, and then it fell off my wall. And it was just in a bag and board. It wasn't in.
There's also a Hulk run. It was when he was Gray Hulk.
Oh yeah.
After Gamma Bomb run, he was still gray, but it was called Countdown, whereas the leader's brother poisoned him, and weirdly kind of resonated with me. Oh, shit.
I mean,
the lowest I've had in my hands was in issue 20. And that alone.
Yeah, 340. And I think 3. God dang it. That's in my other room, but I don't want to get it. But yeah.
Yeah, issue 1, like I've seen a couple and they've always been low grade, but I don't need a high grade of those.
No.
And I mean, I have my whole theory that eventually the Wolverine Limited series by Frank Miller and Claremont is going to catch fire, and I have 22 copies of issue 1.
I'm pretty sure that was actually on the top 10 this week. So. And I have that whole series too, so I'll probably keep the first one, but I might flip the other ones. I don't know.
I've got 22 of issue 1. Like every show I go to, if I find them, because I feel they're undervalued.
Oh yeah, 100% they are. Yeah.
Now I'm kind of collecting ROM because it's never going to be reprinted.
Okay. What ones do you need?
For what?
Like, do you have a list or anything?
Not really. I have
a couple of them, so I have to figure out if you have them.
So, like, I have like a couple of my ROMs are graded, the first couple. So I just randomly decided I'm going to start collecting them. Like Tomb of Dracula, I was picking up for a while, but that got too expensive. What was one of the other series I was picking up?
Dude, Jeffrey, I remember I still have screenshot of when you sent me the list of the Hulks you needed, and it was a lot more than just those. So that's awesome, man.
I helped my friend finish his Uncanny X-Men run, so he finally has that done.
I'm waiting for John to chime in here. He's probably heard X-Men. So
John might be gone, but yeah, Gambit had basically he only needed the first Dazzler, and I bought that for his birthday last year. So I finished his Claremont Burn run. And then there's another series that I kind of picking up, but I'm not picking up seriously. Like I'll find like little mini story runs I'll pick up, but I'd say my big grail is Spider-Man 121. And I'm basically looking for that raw just because I don't want to deal with the graded shit. Like if I want to get it graded, I want to just buy a high grade raw book.
Yeah.
But that's the Death of Gwen Stacy by Green Goblin.
Yeah. So are they going to bring her back in the Amazing Spider-Man 3 or what?
Is that actually a thing now? Is that happening?
I saw some notes that said that was happening. So
they keep talking about it, but I kind of think they should bring her into the Tom Holland universe and just kind of...
Yeah, thanks for coming by, Heather.
Thanks for stopping by and hanging out.
Thanks for adding some perspective to my boring take on things.
We're doing Zodiac next week, so it should have a lot of interesting takes, especially with Tessa not having watched the movie before.
I still can't believe that. It's crazy.
I'm not too surprised, but
it's going to be interesting to revisit that since I talked about watching that 4 or 5 episode docu-series on the guy that wrote the book that thought he was the Zodiac killer's son or whatever.
Well, we also got Gary B. the Casual Guy tonight's doing John Carpenter's The Thing with Candice Barbosa, Shy Comic Girl, and Cara Syrup.
Really? Tonight?
They're doing a live watch along.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I was just like, how did I not get invited to this?
That's what I was wondering.
But I'm not in that community really.
Well, probably also because you're doing this right now.
Or the other, but I scheduled this late, but that's
okay.
It is what it is.
Well, that is a crying shame.
Not really, because I would have taken over the show. Because I have way too many factoids about that movie.
I don't know.
So definitely Frailty, one to check out. If you have HBO Max right now, you can watch it.
Oh, really?
It is on there to stream right now because that's how I watched it today. Because I was too lazy to get up and put my disc in the fucking player.
I will say that is one of the better Blu-rays that I have. I don't know who did it, but holy shit, it was the sound was awesome. So they filmed it to make it look older, but it still looks great. Like
it's Lionsgate.
Wow, that's because I typically don't watch many Blu-rays anymore. Unfortunately, I'm trying to get mostly 4Ks, but the ones I do watch are just kind of. But this one stood out. Like I don't even think I need a 4K if they release it on this tape.
I use my Apple TV for most of my streaming stuff. And for fuck's sake, like HBO Max, I have to turn the volume up so fucking high.
I fucking hate that.
That and Disney Plus are like the two worst offenders. I have to go up to volume 35, and I don't understand why the fuck that is a thing.
I don't know. I don't get it either. I remember that with Disney Plus. That was a huge deal.
Also, like off the topic, I am super excited for the fucking Willow series on Disney Plus. Like way more than I should be.
Willow on that's right. Yeah.
And also, everybody's been talking about the Werewolf by Night Disney Plus special today. And I haven't seen a negative thing about it yet.
Nope, I haven't either.
Also, Gail Garcia Bernal playing the werewolf is interesting. I don't know why I'm surprised they're going with another Spaniard after who wasn't Javier Bardem, who is
Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro. Since there hasn't been a Spanish Wolfman since that.
Yeah.
Where weirdly his father was Odin.
I mean, I kind of want to watch Underworld now.
So
Just the first one. I don't.
The
really
first
care
one
about
is
that.
good. It starts getting stupid after the first one.
Yeah, it got really stupid. I didn't like that girl that was in it when Kate Beckinsale dipped out either.
Oh my god. So she was in a movie called Doomsday.
So I mean, I don't mind her as an actress, person, whatever, but like I just didn't like her coming into that role for some reason.
And I'm gonna sound like Mr. Skid now, but she was in that Invisible Man movie with Kevin Bacon.
Oh, she was?
Rona Mitra is the actress's name.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But... she had a stunning nude scene.
Oh.
God, I sound like Mr. Skin now.
Now I'm probably just gonna go ahead and watch that.
Like it literally, I hated that movie, but I was like, oh my god, she is just. So it was basically like the equivalent of like throwing Eva Green in a bad movie.
Eva Green.
Because like I hated that version of Dark Shadows, but Eva Green was in it, so I was like, well, fuck it, I'll watch it. I blame that fucking James Bond movie.
That's kind of how I was with Shoot 'Em Up at first. It was like, oh, Monica Bellucci's in it, I'll watch it. And then I was like, holy shit.
I gotta talk about that movie at some point.
Dude, my favorite, still to this day, my favorite relatable scene to real life in a movie is the fucking guy that doesn't put his turn signal on, and Clive Owen just fucking goes off and drives him off the fucking road. It was so great, dude.
So, like, once it finally occurred to me that it was basically Bugs Bunny and the hunter.
Yeah, what the hell's his name? Good lord.
Not Wesley Wabbit. Elmer Fudd.
Elmer Fudd.
When I realized it was him and Elmer Fudd, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is insane. And I was like, well, Clive Owen's always eating a fucking carrot. Oh my god. Like, literally all was missing is going, you Wesley Wabbit. And I was like, are they going to do a
rabbit running around at some point?
I think so. I was like, are they going to do a sequel and we're going to have Daffy Duck in it?
I'd be down.
Like, it's such a weird fucking movie. And
it's way over the top for sure.
As someone who loves Crank and then going and watching this movie, you're like, what in the fuck is going on? And Crank is so fucking dumb and entertaining.
Oddly enough, I'm pretty sure, didn't Crank come out after?
Crank 1 came out first, but Crank 2 came out after.
Okay. Well, one or the other, which way. Yeah, actually, I think that's why I didn't want to watch Shoot 'Em Up at first, because someone told me if you liked Crank, you'll like this. And I was like, I wasn't that huge a fan of Crank. So.
I've got
Monica Bellucci's in it. I'm like, okay.
I've got a triple disc where it's The Losers, Shoot 'Em Up, and Rock and Roll are all on the same disc.
Oh my god!
It's a 3-pack, and I was like,
I miss those like triple, double disc, like random movies.
I can't think of 3 stranger movies being put together than these 3.
So I know not a lot of people will like it, but I'm a big Walter Hill fan, kind of, and I really liked Bruce Willis's Last Man Standing, and It always came. You could only get it for a while. I think still now. Actually, you can't even get the double feature anymore. But it used to be. What was that movie with Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis?
Last Boy Scout. I fucking love that movie.
And Last Man Standing were together, and I'm like, why would they put these two together? Oh yeah, Bruce Willis.
I love that fucking movie. Like Last Boy Scout is so
but
bad.
they're like so different, kind of, you know. But
so if they put Last Boy Scout and Commando on the same disc, it would have made 100% sense.
Oh, Commando.
Because they're almost the same fucking movie.
I haven't seen Commando in a long time.
Or True Lies, and that also would have worked on the same disc.
True Lies. I will say that one was pretty entertaining.
True Lies was good. I mean, it made me forget that I hated the unfunny Bellucci brother.
Oh,
Belushi brother.
Yeah. Jim
Belushi. Yeah, it's like it's not even that he's unfunny. He's
he's not unfunny, but he's not like hilarious.
No,
Kind of.
And I know it's kind of insensitive to say he might have traded off his brother's name, but he probably did.
Yeah, or I mean, Hollywood kind of used him.
Yeah,
name too a little bit.
They're like, we can't get John Belushi because he's dead, but we got Jim.
I will say though, that movie with him and Tupac did. Shit, what was that called?
Was it not Colors?
I really liked it. I had the VHS and DVD. I should probably get the Blu-ray. Gang Related.
Oh,
that was good. I like that.
Weirdly, I was talking about that movie Colors with the guy from Mystic River who played Spicoli.
Oh, yeah.
It was Robert Duvall and him in it, and it was a gang movie.
Sean Penn.
Sean Penn, yes.
Yeah. Dude, Mystic River was fucking phenomenal.
Where's my daughter? Where's my daughter?
I remember seeing that for the first time. Holy crap.
It took me a while to see that one because I just wasn't ready to deal with the heaviness of it.
Yeah. Oh, I need to see what's that one that you and John always no, maybe that was Brian and John. The kind of coming of age kind of mobster. I think it was Irish mob kind of. I don't know what it's called now. Anyway,
Irish
John
mob,
here, you would know.
Irish mob coming of age.
Yeah.
Come on, Google, first try.
Miller's Crossing.
Oh yeah, Miller's Crossing. Yeah.
Ooh, I like seeing that Road to Perdition is on there. That's fucking.
Road to Perdition was better than I think people. There's that movie History of Violence with Viggo Mortensen was not great, but it was entertaining.
Yeah, no, it was entertaining. I think Road to Perdition is a much better movie.
Oh, Road to Perdition. I mean, Tom Hanks was fantastic in that movie, and I forget the kid.
Paul Newman.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig. God, there's just so many good actors in that movie for sure. Oh, what's his face? The Italian guy that's been going around to all the places in Italy, like doing a cooking or eating show kind of deal. He's like a famous Italian actor. Really big time. Or I guess famous American Italian actor. Everybody kind of brings up every now and then. What the hell's his name? Oh, Google, I love you. Oh, you know what's funny? I don't think I brought it up because I think I hit the sauce a little bit too much during Fallen, but I liked when he was doing the web search and it was a web crawler.
Mm.
I thought that was cool.
There was Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, Stanley Tucci. That's right. Yep. Yeah, he was in that.
It was in one of the fucking worst movies I've ever seen.
What's that?
He was in that movie with Cher. Oh god, it was like in LA. It was a weird. It had Christina Aguilera in it. It was fucking horrible.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Like it wasn't even like Moulin Rouge. It was like Moulin Rouge Light.
Okay.
They did on How Did This Get Made, and like,
I still haven't seen Black Mass. Have you seen that?
Like once
Johnny
a long
Depp,
time. Burlesque.
Burlesque.
Yes,
Yeah, that
Stanley
sounds
Tucci
like
was in Burlesque.
That sounds like a knockoff Moulin Rouge. For sure.
And Devil Wears Prada, he was in. He played the gay guy a lot.
I haven't seen it. Maybe I have seen it. It's been a long time.
All right. We're heading to the 2-hour mark.
Yep.
And I haven't slept today.
You have to work tonight?
No.
Okay, good.
But I had to go to the dentist this afternoon. And the Tiffany, the Mistress of Pain, cleaned my teeth and gums after my last procedure. And I got home and I could not really get comfortable. So I have not slept.
Yeah.
So I'm basically running on empty and a little less energetic than normal.
That's all right.
Which the sauce kind of helped,
A little bit.
Get me back up a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. You disrespect a little bit.
A little bit.
So next week, 10 o'clock, Friday night, we will have Tessa's a Nerd. We'll be talking David Fincher's Zodiac.
Oh, it's Friday again? Oof.
One of the most complicated cases in U.S. history, possibly, of is it really Zodiac? Is it not? Like, there's a lot of books kind of contesting it. And then I remember when I left New York in 1990, there was a fake Zodiac running around.
What?
Yes. We also had a guy called Dartman in New York who was shooting darts at people's asses in New York City and got caught walking to Toronto. He was walking to Canada because he wanted to leave. Yeah. It was weirdly, it was a good time to leave New York to go to Florida, which is I had no idea of what Florida Man was at the time. Now I'm aware.
Did Florida Man exist back then? No, I don't know.
I think the internet wasn't really a thing at the time,
Right,
so Florida Man was under wraps.
Hidden away from society.
I will recommend anybody, if they're bored, go on Twitter at any point and look up Waffle House fights.
Oh, Jesus.
You will never be more entertained. You have never seen more fucking cooks get into fights, jump over counters with people. I've seen plates thrown. I've seen people jump over the counter and do like Superman punches. I've never been more entertained in my life than seeing, in particular, it's Waffle House in Atlanta. There is never not a fight. There is never not crackheads starting fights, hookers. It is fucking amazing.
Jeffrey,
yes, I have watched it.
Oh,
this is Waffle House fights are the closest thing, except they're all on Twitter and perfectly free. There is even jokes about like the Waffle House interview process, asking people if they can throw hands depending on what shift they'll get put on.
Quick question.
Go
ahead.
There is an article written about hurricanes and what actual strength of hurricane will make a Waffle House close.
Oh, this last one did.
FEMA actually follows Waffle House closings.
This last one, it was on the news that a Waffle House closed.
So basically, it has to be almost a category 4 or 5 for Waffle House to close.
That's crazy, dude.
Otherwise, they just limit what's available on their menu. I read like a 5,000-word article about Waffle House closing during hurricanes, and I
can't imagine they get much business during a hurricane, but
bro, you'd be fucking surprised.
I guess maybe I'd be surprised. I'm sure
if they're a place that stays open, not Chinese food places, Waffle Houses.
Actually, I should say I'd be disappointed, not surprised.
Like, I got people at my job who go at 1 o'clock in the morning and drive almost an hour to go to Wawa or Waffle House every night. And I'm always like, hey, did you get in a fight? And they're like, nah, strip clubs ain't popping tonight. So there's no... Like, the fact you have to gauge. It's fucking crazy.
That's crazy. Hey... Side note, do you know if they have a release date for the others on 4K yet? Because I haven't seen it, and I keep searching it, and it just says TBD, to be determined. I haven't.
It's like Bill Paxton's Near Dark. It's coming out, but I just don't know when.
And they said like final quarter of 2022. So I mean, I don't know what that means, but it could be any day in the last quarter. I guess.
It just says late 2022.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
So that could be November.
I need to pre-order this shit. Come on. I love that movie. And the soundtrack by Alejandro Amenabar, I think is how you pronounce his name. It's fucking amazing. He was also the director, I believe.
Oh. So. I barely remember that movie. And it's weird because I remember it was like very talked about, the ending. But I barely remember the movie. I remember the ending more than I actually remember most of the movie.
What year did that? Was it 2000?
I remember, I think it was Scary Movie 3 that was goofing on it. So that had to have been like 2004.
So I thought I was still at the theater, but maybe not. But I did have a roommate / old boss / good friend that he's like one of those dudes. He's like, he tried out for the whole
2001.
2001. So he tried out for the whole wrestling thing, like when they did the house or whatever with the people training to be wrestlers, blah blah blah, whatever. He's tatted up. He's like into MMA, UFC, all that shit. But he did not want to go see that movie, and he only went because me and another girl and his girlfriend like made him go, and he's like deathly afraid of it. And he hated every minute of it. It's hilarious to watch. But yeah.
All right. With that, thank you everybody. It was great hanging out. We'll be back next week for Zodiac, and then the week after the Halloween series, and then it's open discussion for the last week of Halloween. And he's got
to do it. Hold on. There we go. Boom.
I just finished my bottle, and I'll have to go buy another bottle next week.
Iowa, baby.
We'll figure out what bottle I'm gonna get. Who knows? Maybe I'll look out some Eagle Rare. Probably not.
Figure it out.
But thank you everybody who joined. Jeffrey, it was a pleasure seeing you. It's been a while. Really enjoy having you here. Heather, thank you for contributing. John, as always. Gore, not as vocal as normal, but that's okay. Always appreciate having you here. And Unruly, I know you dipped out pretty early, but again, I appreciate you. And also Panda and Jen. Always a pleasure to see Jen. She didn't stay long, but that's quite okay.
Yeah.
And Inja.
And again, India. I thought it was India.
I don't know. Like I
don't know. Like I always thought it was India.
It could be Inya, it could be Inja, or it could be Inya Binya. I don't know. I've never really gotten into it, and she's never really corrected me, so I don't.
All right.
I might have to ask her sometime. Be like, hey, can you
Clarify.
let me know? Thank you, everybody. And with that, I say farewell.